By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to create a bot, a trading bot, that goes into TradingView and actually trades for you and gives you live signals. So I was really shocked, and I randomly came over this by just chatting with ChatGPT basically, and he started to talk about like the newest trends within trading, AI trading, all of that stuff. And we have a glitch, we have a small gap window that hasn't been filled with insane possibilities with AI, with trading, all that stuff. You don't even need to be a programmer anymore. You can just ask ChatGPT to write you basically a script, a Pine script that you can paste directly into TradingView Pine script, and you already have a bot trading for you. So this is so insane that you can basically choose whether you want this bot to trade, like just give you signals and you execute the trades by yourself, or that it actually trades for you so that you don't have to feel any emotion, anything. Like, you can simply just try it out. If it works, just buy a 10K challenge and just set the bot to trade for you, and don't touch the challenge, don't care about the challenge, and just let it work for you. And I'll almost guarantee you that it will make better decisions, not because it's smarter, but simply because it can't feel any emotion. Like, it's so interesting that this bot can't feel any emotions. So what the only thing you need is you need a kind of trading strategy. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you can paste that trading strategy into ChatGPT for your pair. You just have to explain it, and already then ChatGPT will optimize the strategy, like ask you questions that you haven't even thought about, like levels on the Fibonacci, like in the range, stuff that you haven't even thought about truly, and it will ask you about this. And I'm willing to guarantee you that this bot can trade better than you can by yourself. For example, in my case, I have a strategy where I go into the Euro USD, and on specific days, it's difficult for me to explain. I'll go more into detail in my Discord linked in bio, where I go over live market analysis every single day on my strategy, because I'm specializing in one pair, one session, and I'm planning to take over the market with that pair, that session. But the thing is, I explained this strategy to ChatGPT, and because it thinks as a trading bot, it asks me questions that I haven't even thought about. It asks me about different levels and suggestions, and then I realized that it can actually do this mechanically way better than I can, because I was confused on exactly where to look for entries, but it already knows better than me, and I was so shocked like how perfect it was. And at that point, it can execute, doesn't have to add a whole position, but already when it reaches a specific level, it adds some of the position. Then it adds more and more and more, and that's it. And thing is, if you just do this, I'll guarantee you that you can exploit a window that it's soon going to be filled and it's not going to work that well anymore. But if you do this now, then you'll realize that you can have a much better edge than a lot of people. So all you do is you explain the strategy, you paste a certain amount of pictures into ChatGPT of the specific setups, and you explain what happened. Like, let's say 20 pictures, and you explain what happened. So what it does is it does technical analysis of all those pictures, and it tries to get an understanding of like the true edge and things that you may not even see. And then it gives you a Pine script. It asks you specific questions, and you obviously you have to do some work yourself as well, but then you program it in a specific way and it does most of the work for you, and then you have a script. Then you can use this as an like a tool, a kind of indicator, or you can just make it trade for you, or you can do both. Because what usually happens in most cases for like me is that I have a good period, then for some reason like, let's say you have a really good period for 2 weeks straight, but for some reason, because we're human, obviously we have our limitations, and I think about this all the time, and trading exposes this so well. All the limitations a human has, like, we're so controlled by our current mood, thoughts, like emotions, like the weather itself. It's not perfect today, it's autumn, obviously. Like, all of this stuff is really messing with our decision making more than we think and more than we would like. So what happens is usually that someday you're not, like, you have this good period, but somehow, like, your mind messes it up. Or it can just be that your mind is like, we've been too successful, now I have to sabotage this. Like, and I hate to see that happen to traders, because it's not that you can't trade, it's just like stuff happens that sabotages everything. So I would really suggest you to at least use it as an indicator to where to execute and stop loss and all of that stuff, so that you don't have to do all the heavy lifting for yourself. If you look out throughout history, like, everyone who succeeded long term was because of technology. And those who lost, eventually, it wasn't just because of hard work or lack thereof. It was because technology outperformed them. That's it. If you're watching this, it's not that you need to backtest so much more. And it doesn't matter which stage you're currently in. Obviously, you need to learn trading, but the thing is, just think about it this way. You can work as hard as you want. It doesn't matter if you're not doing the right thing. I'm telling you that what you need to be focusing on is, first of all, one pair, one session. That's it. If you're trying to do everything else, there's no point. And you may be trading the wrong pair for you, because I've traded like different stuff before. For me, I didn't like certain pairs or certain like indices, because they just felt so rigged. Like, that's the truth. They just felt like they were made for me to lose. And at that point, it wasn't because of lack of hard work or that I was a bad trader. It was simply because I just felt like that pair or that like index was just made for me to lose. It felt more like a casino, honestly. Then I went into other pairs, like other stuff, and it was so much cleaner. Like, it felt like it was actually made for me to win. And like, the truth is, you can't go into like the stuff where all the best traders in the world operate, because it's more difficult. That's the thing. If you go into where it's not that big of a competition, for example, like, the thing is, in my case, I prefer to trade London session. I just feel like it's easier. Like, I just feel like in New York session, it's so much more manipulated. Like, I feel like it's just made for you to lose most of the days. And it's not just that it's made for you to lose, but like the movements, like, it's so much more psychologically tough to trade, because I just experienced that they just do stuff to just mess with your mind, basically, the way they move everything. And London session, I feel like it's more chill. It's more like, it's not possible to lose as much as quickly as it is in New York session on a lot of stuff, like especially in futures. I like futures, but I just feel like I just trade better in London session forex, like, simply. And once you find the pair and the session that works for you, the only thing you need to do is give it time, and you need to backtest only that pair, only that session, and watch it live. Like, watch it live. And you have to lose a lot of times in that pair, in that session. Basically, that's a good thing, because what you'll realize is you always tend to lose in the same way. So what you can do then is you can reverse engineer your trade, so that instead of losing every single time, you notice the pattern where you lose, and you can reverse engineer it and flip it on its head and use that as basically a trade where what you would previously like go long, you wait for like that point, or even if it went like 1%, 2% in your favor, and then you short the move. Like that's what made me a successful trader, because I had lost so many times in a specific similar way and I saw the pattern, and then I tried to reverse engineer that loss into a win. So then I realized trading isn't just about like technical analysis, it's just about finding out a pattern that works for you. So for me, it's difficult to even explain all the times what I'm doing. It's just like experience, simply. Like you experience that pair, how it moves every single time, and then you just know. Like I can't explain this. It's just like I know what time to trade, I know how it moves, I know that if this happens, then this won't happen, or if this happens, then this can happen. And I'll like I add the confluences up, like time, what has already happened, like the range, like everything, and then you just become unstoppable. So everyone studies the same thing, like ICT, like SMC, but they close off everything else. They think that that's the only way, that you need to like they think in a so limited way about the markets. And I'm just asking you, like, do you think professional institution, all of that stuff, like, do you just think they use SMC? Like, the thing is, in order to succeed in trading, like, it's not that simple that you can just use, like, I wait for basically this liquidity to get swept, then I wait for a break of structure or a market structure shift, then I try to like take a trade. Like what ends up happening a lot of the time is you get stopped out of that move again and again, and for some reason traders think that that's the only way to trade, and if that doesn't work, then that session isn't tradable. That's completely false. Like, you have to understand the bigger picture, and you have to think for yourself. You have to think that in itself is too predictable. You can't be too predictable. You have to think in a way where you're not so predictable, simply put. You may have to take, instead of a 1 to 4 or a 1 to 5 risk reward, you may have to take a 1 to 2. Like, that's still risk management, but that in itself may be better. And then you can, instead of closing it at 1 to 2, you can see if it goes more in your direction, take partial, like, but in the initial move would be a 1 to 2 or a 1 to 3, so that you're focusing more on a range instead of like, if it takes out this protected high before the market structure shift, then I'm out. Obviously that works a lot of times as well, but it doesn't work every single day. The market isn't that simple. Like, it's so much more chaos. Like, you have to focus more on a range. So you see that it should respect this range. This area shouldn't go higher or lower. That's where you put your stop loss. But you can't just be like, okay, market structure shift, let's go short, stop above the high from the market structure. Like, that's too obvious. But a lot of people get so stuck and so hung up in that idea that they can't think for themselves, they can't be more creative. And the thing is, when you find something that works for you, it feels almost like you've hacked the market. Like, it works so many times that it like, you're just programmed to lose if you just think like everyone else, and you're always going to lose. So the thing is, they can stop you out and make it hard for you, but they can't, like, the market can't operate the way it does. Like, they can't change the market so much that it goes too much in the opposite direction every single time, because at that point it doesn't make sense. Like, the market has predictable patterns, but the thing is people use oftentimes a too tight of a stop loss, or they wait for something perfect, like a perfect breakout structure that doesn't always happen. But the movement is still there. You can still exploit it. That's it. If you're interested in my daily market analysis and being mentored by me, my trading strategy, and how I think, then join the Discord link in the bio, and we'll see you soon.